Hello Sangha, it's day 29 of our 31 days. Um, when I when I teach in a room and we can kind of close off the room and it becomes a little bit like a sanctuary, like where, in fact, it sometimes is in a sanctuary on a Monday night and a Tuesday morning. It can create a real sense of stillness and peace within the sanctuary, even though we can hear the noise outside it, we can hear maybe people chatting or the sound of traffic or other things going on. But inside there's still this sense of stillness and peace, which is what we want to create for ourselves. We want to create a stillness and centeredness within us, that so no matter what happens externally, and by externally I even mean like in our bodies and also even in our minds, that underneath all that there is a sanctuary, okay, that we don't give up, okay, or we don't give it up easily. We try and hold on to it, okay. So what we do when we practice is we're trying to cultivate connection to that sanctuary and deepen our awareness of it and take off and remove the obstacles from this inner sanctuary, okay? Okay, so we'll do like 10, 12 minutes of movement today. We'll get our bodies a little bit more free for the day ahead or the sleep ahead. So bring your hands forward and your knees towards the center. And gently rock from side to side here, okay? So just feel like you're letting your spine drift one way, drift the other way, okay? Maybe take your weight a little further back and a little bit further forward. Maybe sinking all the way down, maybe coming forward and lowering down. Okay, just try this movement. You might make it really slow on the way down. Maybe even hover above the floor for a breath and really slow on the way up. I'm coming back, okay. Slide your hands back toward your knees and come to a kneeling position that feels comfortable for you. Good. Bring your hands forward, tuck underneath your toes, hands back to your knees, let your knees come up and let your knees come down. And if you can, sit your hips on your heels with your toes tucked under. Maybe lift on one knee and the other knee, okay. If you can cope with this, just stay here for a breath or two. If it's too much, just take your weight forward and out of your toes. Okay, if you can stay here, okay. If you need to come to a regular kneeling position, come to a regular kneeling position. But if you can, clasp your hands towards your heart, take an inhale. Sit a little bit taller, exhale, take your fingers forward, push your palms out, inhale all the way up over your head. Slightly back, release your hands behind your back, clasp your hands, draw your fingers towards the floor and let them come away from your lower back and then down again. Okay, shake off, lift your hips. You might be feeling your toes by now and sit down into regular kneeling, okay, which is called Vajrasana in yoga. From here, bring your hands forward again, okay, tuck underneath your toes, hips back towards your heels, drifting into downward facing dog. Remember all the points we've learned for downward facing dog over the last month. Opening your armpits, checking your head is nice and relaxed, looking underneath one armpit, then underneath the other. Come up on your toes, raise your right leg, and bring your knee to your nose if you can. And he'll let it go back up, and then let it come down, okay? Just in the direction of your nose, doesn't have to touch your nose. Inhale up with your left leg. Exhale, left knee to left nose to your nose. Inhale, let it come up, and exhale, let it come down. Okay. Bring your shoulders forward, let your knees come down, let your hips come to rest on your heels, okay? So we're going to come back to down dog, and this time try and send our foot all the way through, okay? Let your hands come down, tucking underneath your toes, hips back towards your heels, heels back and down. Inhale up with your right leg. Land your right foot through between your hands. Bend your right knee and inhale up with both hands. Good. Exhale, float it down. Step back into downward dog. Okay. Come up on your toes, inhale, lift your left leg. Exhale, let your left foot come through between your hands. Once it's there, find what you need from both feet. Inhale up with both hands. Exhale, forward and down. Stepping back into downward dog. Once again, pedal on one side and the other side. Bring your shoulders forward, your knees down, both knees wide. Touch your big toes together, hips and your heels, elbows towards the floor, forehead towards the floor. Lift your head, lift your elbows, hands back towards your knees. Push your hands into the floor, see if you can get to a squat position from here. So come into a squat, seeing how that feels for you, letting your elbows rest on your knees in Malasana. If you can pop something underneath your heels to give you a little more support, you can pop something underneath your heels, maybe push your palms together, sitting into this beautiful squat, and then push up. Good. Can you keep your body as perpendicular to the floor as possible and sink down? Okay. Float up and float down. Okay, good. Last one. Coming up and then coming down. Good. Bring your hands forward, bring your knees down. And try some cat and cow with some side movements now. So lifting your back up, stretching it out that way, letting your belly sink down. This way, moving things around. Good. Freeing up your body. Push your hands into the floor. See if you can hop into a squat either side of your hands. Okay, so floating forward. Watch for your balance. Push all the way up and give everything a good shake off. Both arms, both legs. Take your feet a little bit wider. Bend your knees and sink your hips. Into horse stance, bring your palms together. Sink a little lower. Squeeze your knees back, your hips forward. Watch for your feet collapsing, right? So bring the weight into the outside edge of each foot. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, go wide. Bend your knees and sink your hips. Inhale, go all the way up. Exhale, wide. Bend your knees and sink your hips. Hold it here for a breath. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, wide. Bend your knees. Sink your hips. Bring your palms together once again. Sink a little lower even now if you can. Feel your legs having a conversation with you. Bring your hands inside your thighs. Move everything from side to side. Release your body. Knees over toes. Knees over toes. Good. And when you come to the center, see if you can bring one shoulder towards the opposite knee. Inhale back to the center. Other shoulder to the other knee. Inhale coming up. Exhale coming over. Inhale coming up. Exhale coming over. Inhale coming up. Pushing all the way up. Give everything a good shake off, okay? Bring your palms together again and sink down again. This time lift your arms up over your head, clasp your hands, push your palms towards the sky and lean towards one side. Inhale back to the center, exhale to the other side. Inhale back to the center, exhale to the other side. Inhale to the center and exhale. Inhale to the center, release. And again, side to side movements, easing off into your legs. Super important that we develop this strength in our legs, you know, that they get stronger and stronger. And support is through our movement every day. Push all the way up, give them the good shake off. We're going to do a balance posture where we hold our foot and lean out, like it's called Natarajasana, right? So bring your knee up towards you, take both hands around it. Walk your hands down towards your foot and bring your foot towards your hip. Okay. See if you can hold that foot there. Now this might be all you do. You might just stand here and go, this is enough. Okay. Or you might have a wall that you can touch and you can start to send your foot out behind you and maybe this hand up into the air. Good. Smile. Be happy. And coming back to a more upright position. And if you want to go again, leaning forward, sending your toes back, your fingers forward, maybe even touch your thumb and your forefinger of your arm that's out to the front. Good. And come back. Shake off, get nice and loose. Roll your shoulders. Try the other side, putting your weight on the foot that was behind you. Bring your knee up, hold it. Take your hand down towards your foot. Bring that heel to your buttock. Okay. Squeeze your knees together a little bit maybe. Let this arm float out. Start to send your foot behind you. Oops, if you lose your balance, just bring it back, like me. Send your foot out again. Open it up. Good. Breathing into this. Keeping smiling. Coming forward. And if you can go back one more time, go back one more time. Yeah, it's tricky. Try and keep your balance. Let's try it one more time for me. Without looking at the camera. Good. Oh, not today. Okay, shake it off. Balance is just a practice, right? When we lose it, it's better to be amused by it than, than frustrated by it, okay? So shake off, get nice and loose, and then see if you can sit down without using your hands too much. Good. Bring your legs out towards the front. Give them a wee shake off from side to side. Okay, we're going to lean over to the right and bring your left foot back. And bring your right leg in. Okay. So you've got one knee bent with the foot pointing behind you. One knee bent with the foot pointing to your inner thigh. Now we're going to try and switch. So these feet are doing what the other foot was doing. Okay. Can you switch? You can use your hands to support the movement. Okay. Or you can switch without your hands, supporting the movement. Switch. Okay. So we can also switch by lifting our hips up, coming underneath. So the foot that was over here is coming behind. The foot that was out here is coming underneath, and we descend. Okay, you might have to practice this a little bit. So your hips come up, we switch, and we descend. We come up, we switch, and we descend. Okay, and one last time. Good. And then you can kind of go between those two movements. Switching round from the front, coming up, coming underneath, coming up, coming underneath, switching round, working into your hips that way, okay? And then come to a cross-leg position. Take your cushion, place it underneath your hips. Okay, so we're going to learn a meditation technique called Mahazati meditation. Now, this is something I've practiced for a long time, but I was at a festival a couple of years ago that I helped organise, and we had a Buddhist monk talk about meditation while we were there, and this was one of the techniques he encouraged us to use. So all we do is we start with our hands on our thighs, and we take one hand and turn it on its side. We raise that hand and we let it come to our abdomen. We take the other hand on its side, we raise it, and we place that on the other hand. We slide the first hand to our heart. We let it open. We let it come down. We let it come flat. We place the other hand on our heart. We open it. We let it come down and go flat. Now, because it's a meditation, we're paying attention to each movement, really following the movement. So let's try that again. First hand on its side, raise it, place it on your abdomen. Other hand on its side, raise it on top. First hand on your heart, open, down, flat. Other hand on your heart, open, down, flat. First hand at side, up, abdomen. Other hand, side, raise, abdomen. Heart, open, down, flat. Heart, open, down, flat. So continue with this at your pace. If you want to do it really slow, do it really slow. If you want to do it a little faster, do it a little faster. If you want to keep your hands, if you feel really connected when they come to a certain position, then keep them in that position. Try to follow every movement. Not allowing your mind to go too far. Coming back to the movement. Find your mind wandering, maybe vary the speed that you're doing the practice. Maybe slower, maybe faster. And if you want to keep the movement going, keep it going. If you want to come to stillness, move into stillness. Take a final few moments following the movement, or remaining in stillness, creating this sanctuary where you can feel peace and feel separate from the chaos of your mind or the chaos of your body or the chaos of your life. And if it's time for you to continue with your day, then allow some movement. If there's time to remain in this space longer, then remain in this space longer. Om Shanti.